We are live. Ciao
Great.
Sanam. Hi Sanam. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Filippo. How are you?
I'm fine, super fine, thank you. And
That's great.
Sanam, let me introduce you because we spent just the previous digital volunteering experience in Bangalore in 2019, right? We come to visit you
Yes, it's
in
more than 3 years
2019.
already.
Yeah, before the lockdown, before the COVID-19 pandemic, right? And yeah, we met ourselves online on Facebook probably, and you introduce you to our community, Bridge Culture, that is your social venture that you are running over there in
Yes.
Bangalore. So out of the blue, one day we start chatting, we schedule a call, and finally we visited Bangalore with our team of digital volunteers in order to support your digital transformation and innovation processes in bridge cultures, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
I like to let you the microphone in order to let you to introduce yourself, just to spend a few words about who are you, where are you living, what's the culture in Bangalore, and some details about these topics.
Sure. So I think it was, I'm sorry for my cough.
Welcome.
It was through one of the Amani communities that we happened to meet. And I think it was just such a great connect because what you had been envisioning to do with Skillando and what I have been envisioning to do with Bridge Cultures was I was lapping the vision well, and conversations clicked really, really. Uh, Before we even knew it, you gave me a call and we were like, "Hey, Sanam, we are planning to come to Bangalore to work with you, and we have a team who would come and work with you on, like, say, the digital space, the content, or the overall digital marketing space, and so on." I was like, "Wow, why not?" And I was actually a little surprised when you said that. I was like, "Okay, you seem to be really experienced, who, like, because you of course elder to me in a way, elder to me, and you're coming with a certain number of years of experience, and I, as a startup person, I really do not have any funds that I can shell out to pay you guys, but then I get to know it's a volunteering space where you're coming here." So in the beginning I had these apprehensions, but when I spoke to you about it, and I was like, "Wow, nothing like it, please come over," and it was amazing to host you guys. And I remember working with you from various cafes in Bangalore, because of course I
Yeah.
don't have an office, and we made cafes our office, and it was you who pushed me to even like go and do some user interviews, because I remember there were a few people in the there were there was a German group, there was an American lady, and there was another um, other American lady. So it was a great group which I wouldn't have gone and spoken to. But I very well remember you telling me, "Sanam, you're going and making these user interviews." I was like, "Awesome."
I push yourself to adopt a design driven approach, right? So
Totally,
start
totally.
start building something with the people that probably in the future are going to use your platform, your service, or your product as well.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And
By
like
the
you
way,
pushed me to do that user interview.
yeah. By the way, we are still waiting for the payment.
Oh,
It's a joke.
I can I can make that payments in kind by sending you some nice goodies and cultural things from India.
No, no, it's a joke. It's a joke. By the way, I remember that I have a very great memories about those 12 days that we spent in Bangalore, because it was my first time that I visited India.
Mhm.
And I remember that I get super fascinated about the culture, about the ton of people in the street driving as the crazy people, you know. And one day we picked me. I don't remember, but we went to working we work, and we you picked me by your bicycle. And I realized that Bangalore is one of the most crowded city that I ever visited, because I realized that people crossing the street in every side, you know. By the way, I have a very good memories, and in both mission, there were also Roberto Verde and Francesco Cianfarani, right?
Yes.
So we spent 12 days in Bangalore. Do you want to introduce bridge culture? Because this
Sure.
is the core of our discussion, I suppose.
Sure. So for all the people who are viewers or who will be viewing this, cultures is a platform or which curates programs for individuals across the globe with social entities in India. Learning programs, it's all about holistic learning experiences. It can be internships, it can be workshops, it can be short-term impact journeys, and so on. But it's not just about interacting or engaging with the social enterprises that we would connect you with, but it's also about what do you learn holistically about the culture, about the country, the people,
Yeah,
language, food, and moreover, what impact does the whole experience have on you? And what do you learn about yourself? What impact that this experience engaging with the enterprise in a
yeah,
completely new geography will have on you as a person, both professionally and personally, and what life lessons can you derive from that experience is what bridge cultures is all about. And if you ask us, like if you ask me, why do we do this, it's mainly my personal story, where I have been working in the social sector for
yeah,
the past 8 years, being an engineer academically, then working with the corporate, planning to. In fact, I went to another city to prepare to do my masters in design. I wanted to study industrial or product design, but
yeah,
then I happened to land into a job where I was working with the communities. When I say communities, it's the slum communities of the
yeah,
urban cities. And I just loved the job where I was already designing solutions that could have created impact, that was creating some amount of impact in the lives of certain people or certain communities. So the whole shift from the mindset of going there to do masters through
yeah,
shifting and working for the people and for the community and with the community came in 2012. And since then I have been working in the social sector. Of course, in between I did a retail business where I was selling curtains and mattresses in a retail store with my uncle. We have a family business in India, in Mumbai. I did that, and I now realize how enriching that experience was,
yeah,
to be able to communicate with various types of people, like from different age groups, different demographics, gender. Like it's been really amazing that way. And then I started working on livelihood projects in rural and tribal areas. So why I'm sharing this, it's because when I started engaging with these social causes, with the communities, the empathy in me
yeah,
started building up more and more.
yeah. I know.
I had to learn, exactly right, I
I know.
had to learn to empathize with the problem first,
Yeah,
to be able to design some solutions or to be able to be a part of the solution.
yeah,
So the first point is to be able to empathize with the problem. And that building of empathy came in when I started interacting with the communities and when I started working in the space. So,
yeah,
and that made me more sensitive overall and more compassionate than I was before. I've always been a compassionate person. I know that about myself. But now when I look back, like say 10 years ago, the Sanam who was there 10 years ago and who I am now, there is some evolution that has happened, and I'm more compassionate, more empathetic now. And thanks to all the experiences that I have.
I was the same thing. Another thing happened to me when I quit my job in 2017. I moved to Nairobi, and I start exploring the social innovation field, and I get
Hmm.
in touch with different people, different stakeholders working in that environment, and
Yeah.
I started realizing from my inside, I become more aware that we are on this planet not just only to get the shit done, get a job, but we have also to create a real and concrete impact in someone
Yes.
else's life. And when I realized that in my mind starting pop up with these kinds of messages, right, I realized that I was in the right place to do something. So I started exploring what was the next step in order to get forward. And it's an amazing process, because on top of the product, on top of the service, on the top of the startup, and the fascination, the attraction and the curiosity about the startup environment, I remember that I get more fascinated about this new version of myself, of this new journey. You got it. Yeah, that's the picture. And so I totally get involved in that flow. And one day I get in touch with two guys that invited me to visit a school in the slum, where I start teaching coding by the day after. So I deep dive also in this kinds of environment in the slum, where people that didn't have my same opportunities from the professional, educational point of view. So I realized that I can share just my knowledge, my expertise, my background for free to someone else that didn't have my same opportunity, as a Western. And it has a super interesting flow that sometimes happen out of the blue one day, when you realize that you want to do something different rather than what you are doing the day before. So is the social innovation, the social innovation process is something about yourself and not only about the company and the product and service that you are going to build. Yeah.
Oh,
Super.
totally. Totally.
Super.
I will just add a little here. So as you exactly said, that it came in from a very personal journey of how the experience has molded me into a certain person and a certain mindset. Like everything about me, it has been defined, right? And when I realized this in my previous organization, I saw there were a lot of people who came from various countries to India to engage in the social innovation space, because India is the hub of social innovation in the world. Like
Absolutely.
you talk about social innovation, the first country that comes to mind is India in
Yeah.
the whole of the world, or even in Southeast Asia, right? So, and I see there are a lot of people, but there are many gaps that there are there in the whole process of engaging into the social innovation process or social innovation space in India.
Yeah.
And I see that there are a lot of people who want to engage. So that's where I thought, I would love to build something where I can enable these young people, the youth, the students, or the teenagers, or young professionals to come and engage, or and give out their skills. For example, the way you came here and gave your digital skills to bridge cultures, like I would love to facilitate these kind of programs with smaller non-profits or for-profit social enterprises that are doing phenomenal work in India over here. So that's where I started this platform, and we facilitated few programs since 2019. We had a first batch come from US and so on. So of course, I won't go into those details. But the whole idea of Bridge Cultures is to enable more and more individuals to engage in the social innovation space and learn more about the ground reality
Yeah.
which is there. It's like kind of another world that is there in the world, in our world itself. So it's very important. So I thought, like, very much similar to your vision, it's very important that we create something to create some real impact. If I don't believe in doing like big things, doing
No,
those small things that can have a bigger impact. So
totally
that's the
agree.
whole thing. Yeah.
Totally agree. I always say, I used to say that you have to change the life of one person. Start doing little step, and then try to replicate and scale that kinds of approach and the
Yes.
methodology and the platform and the ideas you have in your mind.
Totally.
But just
Yes.
focus in one single person, one single user, and start discussing and start designing the final version of the product with him or her directly. Just discussing, but
Yes.
just designing, just brainstorming, just try to figure out what could be easy to understand, first of all, for the end user, and especially also from the onboarding phase, because the user today are very, especially here in Europe, are super used to download the app and mobile application every day. but not all the people are very confident with the digital field and the digital transformation that we are living nowadays. Just one question, Sana. What has been the big challenge that you have to face when you decide to launch to launch Bridge Culture?
The biggest challenge when I decided to launch in the beginning was multiple ones, but one of the primary ones was to build these strategic partnerships
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to generating, in simple terms, if I talk in business terms, generating business. So, Bridge
Yeah,
Cultures is a for profit social enterprise. Yes, we generate profits. Definitely, that's how we sustain. So, the challenge was to build these partnerships to generate business and to also enable, like when I say very specifically that Skillando's digital volunteering would directly align with is the overall digital know-how, or
yeah,
like how do you reach to the end user. When we
yeah,
speak about individuals, how do the end users get to know about Bridge Cultures?
yeah,
That was one of the challenges, and that continues to be the challenge, which I'm sure you'll agree with. And the other things coming from the social innovation space and the overall cultural demographic of India itself, about the country itself. Because India, when you go to US or certain European countries, it is still a third world country. Unfortunate, but that's how it is.
yeah,
Because the diversity in any possible aspect of life, India is on the top, right? And when there is a lot of diversity, there is a lot of uncertainty as well. And due to that uncertainty, and of course, some unfortunate incidents, there are certain narratives about India that are not so positive abroad. But
yeah,
I have not met even a single person, to be honest, not because I'm speaking about Bridge Cultures, but in general, even way before I started Bridge Cultures, I have not met even a single person who has come to India and who has not liked India.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Before they came to India, they were like, okay, I'm scared, I don't know what's going to happen. If some girl was coming, their friends and family would tell her that, okay, here you're going to be robbed, you're going to be raped, what not. But now when I talk to them, India is their second home. I'm
absolutely,
not even
absolutely,
exaggerating a single bit. So
absolutely,
that continues to be a challenge. So it's a shout out to the people around that India is an experience to be had, be it through social innovation space or just travel, but it is an experience that I think everyone should have.
yeah. I realized when I landed in Bangalore that something spiritual start happening in my soul, because I'm a super rational person. I super concrete person, and I never spend more time looking inside of me what's happened in other contexts and culture. But when I landed in Bangalore, I realized that was a new journey, a different journey from the previous one, from the previous
Totally.
travels, but it was a spiritual journey. And especially when you bring me in the church to visit the temple, you remember, right? In that
Yes.
occasion, that moment, I realized that I came to Bangalore to visit that temple. Yeah. So thank you very much for host us and invited us, because we spent an amazing dinner with your mother, right? In
With my
at
aunt.
your
Yeah.
home, yeah, with your
Yes.
uncle, yeah. And also the food, I really enjoy the food in the Indian food, because I remember that I told you, Sanam, whatever you eat, order two, because I'm going to eat the same food you are going to
I,
eat.
I I remember that. I remember that.
That's the best choices that I've done about the food in India, eating the same food
I
that you
like
are going
it.
to eat.
I remember that.
And
I had actually forgotten that you had come to my home and we had hosted you for dinner. I didn't remember this. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The typical Indian dinner, sitting down on the floor, eating with
Yes.
hands. It was super amazing, super amazing. I have a great memory about that night, that dinner. And
Awesome.
I remember also one day that we went to visit the market, the city market, and
Yes.
I remember was street um, made of all libraries, and in every shop, in every single shop of selling books, bookstores, there were only books about informatics, mathematics, physics,
Yeah,
coding, and so on. This is part of your knowledge as a country, because in India there are a ton of developers and ton of people working in the digital field, right?
yeah, yeah. So Bangalore is called as the Silicon Valley of the East,
Yeah,
and it is the IT capital of India, and of course the whole eastern part of the world. And there are a lot of engineering colleges, especially when it comes to Bangalore and all across the country. And the street where we walk through, the
yeah,
market area, though that's a street where you get used books for college students. So college,
yeah,
that street is full. So that street is divided into three parts. The first part is all about books. The second part of the first part is all about novels, like which are fictional stories and so on.
yeah.
And
Right.
then comes the jewelry market, and then comes the flower and the vegetable market.
The flower
That's the,
market. Yeah.
yes. So it's a whole stretch. And I remember that, like how fascinated you were with the books being there, and like it was like a crazy setup.
I took a lot of picture with the
Yes,
background made of books about every kinds of coding languages, from
all,
Turbo Pascal to React and more actually
everything,
coding languages.
everything.
Yeah, I see.
Yes.
And what's the next steps for bridge culture? What do you figure out for the future of bridge cultures?
Sure. So, COVID-19 actually completely put the business model down the drain, and
Yeah.
we had to relook at the whole strategy with international travel restrictions and so on. So, what we have been doing is we switched to virtual learning programs. When I
Mhm.
say that, it's about virtual internships where, say, anyone from any part of the world can work with a social enterprise in India. But of course, the experience will not be as rich as it is on the ground, but still, it is a learning experience. So that is one. And second, we've onboarded a lot of industry experts and social entrepreneurs themselves who have designed and who have been facilitating workshops. So
Okay.
small duration workshops where when I say small durations, somewhere between 3 to 5 hours, which is spread over two sessions, so 1.5 to 2 hours each. And we have various topics like climate change, gender, social innovation itself, like social entrepreneurship for personal growth, or design and social impact. How does it go together? Or water sanitation and hygiene from a humanitarian angle, and things like that. And very one of the very important topics that we have is self-reflection through art. So
Yeah.
using art as a medium to walk more within yourself and identify the what impact the surroundings has had on you and so on. So as a future, the next steps that we are taking is we are focusing more on these virtual learning programs where we can make these avenues like the awareness about social innovation very sector specific, available to the classrooms. Say for example, if we are working with university students, the whole mm, all the students might not be able to come to India, but
Okay.
by facilitating these workshops, at least some amount of knowledge can be delivered to the students, all of them who are there in the classroom, there in any part of the world.
I got
And
it.
from that, if someone says that, okay, hey, you know what, I'm interested in working in the climate change space with the Indian social enterprise, great, Bridge Cultures can facilitate that. So internships or fellowships is
I
becoming
got
a
it.
byproduct now, and we are
I got it.
focusing more on virtual programs and short term programs. So we have had some inquiries about groups coming to India, and like say for example, very specific, very similar to the way you guys came, but
Yeah.
in a little bigger group where a bunch of students from a specific class, they want to work with engage with social enterprises in for a shorter duration, maybe 5 or 6 days, and then go to another one. So we have designed a framework for these short term journeys. We call them as impact journeys. So this is the new direction that we have found for Bridge Cultures, and going ahead with that, and
Cool.
also onboarding newer target audiences with, say, working professionals or social enterprises across the globes and so on. So yeah, that's what it
Interesting
is.
pivot, because you move a switch from the travel agency model to the consultancy's model for the social innovation field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me say, if I properly understand, you set up innovation workshop in order to come up with the idea and the solution for climate changes and SDG goals, for instance, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And which I'm super curious about these kinds of approach, because, as you know, I also used to use my consultancies to let people to come up with an idea with my facilitation. So
Mm-hmm.
using essentially design thinking framework or similar framework in order to define it properly, problem, and validate the problem. And so in the second phase, the divergent phase, come up with a ton of ideas and try to experiment and prototype them. Which kind of framework do you adopt?
So over here for all these workshops, what we have done is we have completely given all the free hand to
Okay.
the facilitators themselves. So say for example, and all the workshops are very customized. So say a group of students from an Italian university studying business, and they want to learn something about sustainable fashion brand in India,
Okay.
a social enterprise in India. So the founders of this social enterprise will design a framework and design the content of the workshop based on the learning objectives of the participating group. So we
Oh,
will first get what the learning objectives are, what they are studying, the outline of their curriculum, and we will get the ground lessons, and that will be complementing their learning objectives. So that's how we are designing our content and the workshops. I hope that
okay.
answers your question.
Fully customization, so
Full
fully
customized.
customized. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And the last question before leaving the call, if you what you are looking for in order to reach out and build the future vision of bridge culture. What do you need today in order to build bridge culture of the future?
More people to work with. I need a team.
Okay. Okay. How many people work in bridge cultures today?
As of now, full time it's me, and then I have people like you whom I brainstorm my ideas with. I reach out to you, and we have our calls. Right, I have few friends in various parts of the world who potentially are the users. So I have the users who are my teammates and who help
Yeah.
me through and through. But as a full time team member in Bridge Cultures, it's just me.
Mhm.
So first thing, I'm definitely looking for a co-founder, and then building a team, and then definitely some funds to build new products.
So one of my idea in the past was to set up and launch a platform like a Tinder to looking for a co-founder for the startup. So it's like
We
a
should do
Tinder
that.
Tinder user experience, like, not like, because a lot of people today bootstrapping startups and ideas, but they are looking for other people working for those companies,
Yes.
especially a co-founder. And that's a tricky point, because a lot of people I'm talking with are looking for a co-founder. Yeah.
Yes, yes. My mentor keeps saying that, like, the first thing that you got to do is find a co-founder and then build something where there is tech involved, so that we might be able to get in some funds. So tech, co-founder, a team, and then funds.
Funds.
All three together.
Or probably found team and co-founder. I don't know, because probably funds attract more
Maybe.
people. I don't know.
Maybe I would actually reframe it: co-founder, funds, and then that will eventually definitely bring in the team.
Other people.
Yes, yes. So yeah.
And last question, because I'm super curious about your workshop. Do you deliver the workshop? Do you run the workshop in presence or online?
So far, we have done online only, but
Mhm.
we can do the same experience in person as well. So, very soon, we are going to start working with Indian enterprises or institutions. It can be any corporations or colleges, universities. So, when we start doing that, we'll be doing it in person. But so far, with American universities that we have worked with, it's all online in
Okay.
virtual.
Okay. So my suggestion is about, why don't we start figure out together if the Skillando community, and especially some persons, some designer in our community, in our team, can support you in the framework design, in order to in order also to provide you some feedbacks and to start a brainstorming with
Sure.
other persons out of your industries and markets and organization. Probably it could be inspiring having some feedbacks and some
100%.
mutual
100%. I'm always open to feedback and learning from completely new set of eyes. Definitely open to that.
Okay. I'm going to engage some people in this.
I love it.
Thank you, Sanam.
Yes,
I miss you. I miss Bangalore, because in this moment I realized that I would like to be in Bangalore again in order to
I
visit
hope so. I hope so that
nice
happens soon. And I hope I can come to Italy sometime soon as well.
wherever you want. If this is your bed, if you want, I can host you here in the bed. You are welcome wherever you want. Just text me.
Nothing like a local experience. Why would I go and stay in an Airbnb or a hotel when I have such an amazing place to stay?
Absolutely. That's
Exactly.
Sanam. Thank you very much,
Gracias.
Sanam. Enjoy the
Thank
rest of
you.
the day. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Have a nice evening. Bye.